these are Michael Jordan-like numbers. I mean, if you look on the data center side, I mean, you're talking about, 5 to 700 bips above street. Whisper numbers into next quarter, 70% growth. It's 77%. I mean, you talk about law of large numbers. It doesn't apply with Nvidia. And I think as it plays out, this is showing the 500 billion they talked about with Blackwell and Rubin. It's conservative. And I think as numbers look out, 30% growth next year probably goes closer to 40%. And that's why I think there's a stock that should be up significantly as we look into the coming weeks and months.
How do you put Nvidia vis-a-vis AMD these days? AMD seems to be really stepping up its cadence of announcements. Obviously, the deal with Meta, they made another announcement today. I know Nvidia is the big player there, Dan, but how do you size up just the competitive landscape?
Look, if Lisa Su is flying the plane, you're in 3A, drinking Cabernet, watching Netflix, feeling really good. Okay, so she making all the right moves to
Right,
narrow the gap. Because Nvidia, that's obviously the one chip in the world fueling the AI revolution. But
right.
AMD, they're going to get 15-20% of this market over the coming years.
One of the theme I see in the research notes this morning is most people like Dan Ives lift up their price targets, some conservatively, some with a little more aggression. Is Dan Ives the idea that they will expand beyond 5 or 6 vendors? Is that an assured thing? Or is it, would you put that under risk factors that they can't get the rest of the world to pay up for NVIDIA?
Yeah, look, I think right now, yeah, you don't have a choice. And that's when you look at margins, gross margin 75%. Over the coming years, you will have competition. Big tech companies are going to try to build their own chips. Obviously, AMD, what you see with Huawei in China and others. But the reality is, especially when it comes to like physical AI, autonomous robotics, you're going to have no choice right now where NVIDIA, you're going to ultimately have to go down that route with NVIDIA. But this is going to spread 5, 7, 10 vendors over time. But at least the next 18, 24 months, probably 36 months, if you're calling the red phone for a chip, it's the godfather of AI, black leather jacket Jensen, who's answering that phone.
Dan, what's the conversation you're having these days with your tech clients as it relates to software and just the threat, potential, real, I don't know, that AI may pose to some of these software vendors? Because boy, those stocks have been taken out to the woodshed.
Yeah, Paul, it's the most, in my opinion, disconnected tech trade that I've seen in my career. Because and Jensen hit on it last night on the earnings call. Software will be the hearts and lungs from a data perspective and use cases of AI. So the concept that Claude and others are going to unseat these, when you look at Salesforce, ServiceNow, Microsoft, others, it's a fictional tale. And I think investors are trying to figure out like how do you play software? Right now, everyone's running for the hills. You're owning semis and hardware, and no one's even touching software. But I view that as the opportunity to own some of these core winners.
I mean, what's the conversation you're having? I would think the hedge funds would be really, if I'm a hedge fund manager, I'm going right to my tech analyst and saying, I think this might be once in a lifetime opportunity to buy some of these names. I mean, but you can be obviously really right or really wrong here. What do you think the conversation is?
The conversation, you'd think it's that, but it's actually, I think it's almost the opposite. You're seeing
Interesting.
everyone just run to semis and
We're
hardware and
still on a
software.
third. This is important, Dan. On this Thursday, you can report right now that what you're observing is people are still running.
Running for the hills like they're being chased by a dinosaur.
Okay, well,
And look,
let me interrupt here because you killed this in April. We were running for the hills on April the first week of April last year. Oops, and you nailed that along with some other people. You weren't alone. Is this the same equivalent, the same analog now? Is the
generation
running there of April, a year ago?
generate it would be like being negative on Aaron Judge because of the way he plays the first week of a season. The point is, if you look at this over years,
Right.
ServiceNow, Salesforce, what Arvin's doing at IBM, you look at Microsoft. I view these as generational opportunities, and as this all plays out, and that's why right now, like the Bears are winning the narrative in the day That's going to be short-lived. That's how you ultimately,
Right.
that's how you make money in this market.
Okay, let's switch gears. Dan Ives with the Stock Global Head of Tech Research at Wedbush Securities from Scottsdale, Arizona, this morning. We welcome all of you around the world and across the nation. Apple's going to do some soiree right now. I see all the Apple gossip. I think they did a product refresh last year. What's the product refresh look like this year?
Yeah, I mean, that'll be like when you look at different models from the iPhone, the SE, you're gonna have some lower cost models that they release. And I think this is one where they start to tiptoe into iOS. We talk about 26.4, 26.5, where that's gonna finally be Siri AI, which all leads into WWDC and iPhone 18. Look at the way, like Keen, we obviously talk about it all the time. Look at the way Apple's trading. I am telling you right now,
Right,
this is a stock.
right.
Google in 2025 will be Apple in 2026 between the product refreshers and
Oh,
AI.
listen to you. Okay, I've been using AI here, and all I know is Penn State has to play Wisconsin USC and October 17th, Michigan. I mean, Penn State has a tough schedule.
But they don't have to play Ohio State. That's big.
Okay.
That's big.
We now report from State College, Pennsylvania, with Daniel Ives as well. Are they beyond the coaching debacle?
Oh, and we got the golden ticket with Campbell as coach. Now I told you, like we've talked about it, it's the rebuild to a natty in the next few years. Big Ten right now, I hate to say it for the SEC. I mean, it's a Big Ten dominant league. I think Penn State is in just a phenomenal position going into 26 and beyond.